had his nightmare and never thought his dream. The mothers didn't know if they should hide their girls or scream. Right along beside them, it's all the cameras flashed. Without Elvis, there'd be no Jerry Lee or Johnny Cash. He was straight out of Tupelo, the Memphis Flash.
Hello Elvis fans, I want to just let you know that I do appreciate all your comments. That's why I do these videos that highlight your comments. Even when you and I don't agree with each other, as long as you're respectful, I normally keep the comments on the pages. And even sometimes when you're not respectful, I still keep them as long as you respect Elvis and the other members of this channel. So on the Elvis and Kathy book, My First Night Alone in Elvis's Bedroom, Norma said, "Thanks for sharing this. I enjoyed the book." I'm enjoying the book. So glad you're here, Norma. And user LYANN Girl says, "My favorite was this book with Kathy." You know, this seems to be a very popular book. It's not something you can find, first off. I know you can probably find it on ebook, but it's not the same as being able to read it with the pages, you know. And I haven't read this book before reading it to y'all, so this is my first time as well. You know, and I appreciate you know, all of the opinions that come from y'all every single day on this channel. Rosemary Hardy 6067 says, "I believe Kathy. She was with him longer than most. She had no axe to grind." You know, Kathy seems to be, in some ways, much different than the other women that were in Elvis's life. She had her talent. She was a great singer. So Elvis had respect for that. She had a very spiritual side, and Elvis had much respect for that. And of course, she kept herself a virgin until, well, I don't want to spoil it, but she was a virgin when she met Elvis. Teresa, what's going on, Teresa Kona? Good to see you here again. Thank you, enjoying this. I'm glad you're here and glad you're enjoying it. This is a super hard book to find. I got a halfway decent deal on it. I mean, you can, if you take a look at it online, like Abe Books wants $3,000 for it. It's very expensive because there's not many copies out there. But, you know, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to put back into the Elvis community, you know, and bring something to y'all that you haven't seen before. Growing this channel, it was a lot of pictures, Elvis pictures, that y'all had not seen before. And I really need to get back to doing that because I had to delete 550 videos last year. I couldn't tell why YouTube got mad at me, whether it was Priscilla, too much Priscilla stuff, and she complained, or what. But I had to get rid of a lot of videos, so I'm going to have to redo a lot of the photo videos that I have all the photos for. All right, hey, what's going on, Sharon Carroll? I'm in the 30%, I guess, so thank you so much for doing this. I don't see how people that haven't read these books don't want to listen, but to each his own, I guess, yeah. You know, I think part of it has to do with some of the commercials YouTube puts, but if you know that you can skip them after 5 seconds or 8 seconds, it's not too inconvenient to have a couple commercials here and there. But that's part of it, I think. And then I've had a couple comments from users that, from subscribers that mentioned some of the music was too loud in some of the videos, and I got to keep an eye on that because, you know, if this was my full-time job, I could be a lot more precise with things. But as some of y'all know, you know, I'm a singer-songwriter. So I do that, and then I run a sales team for a fiber company in Tennessee. So I've got 13 employees, and they're reaching out all day long, and they work on the weekends as well. And then I've got an eBay store, and of course I have this YouTube channel, and I've got 5 or 6 other YouTube channels with my son. So I stay really busy, and my family, you know, that's very important. So unfortunately, I probably don't take as long editing these videos as I should. All right, Existential Nausea. That's a great name. She doesn't like me, though, I can tell. Riley owns Graceland. It's her decision, period. And that's not really all her decision, no. It's not. It is Joel Weinshanker's decision on a lot of it. Existential Nausea says, "Y'all need some serious psychological help." Okay, well, thank you. I don't know what to say to that. Your picture looks a little scary to me, but... That being said, please come back. Please comment. Maybe you find something on this channel you like. I'm a guessing you like Priscilla, and you've got no issues with all the stories that she's told that everybody else disagrees with. All right, Ginger Alden, was it true love? Mrs. Ginger Presley. This is an older video that I put on the channel. Angela says, "I believe Ginger, not the others, Elvis found out Linda Thompson had an affair with one of Elvis's band members. Do your research. I'm not exactly sure what you're trying to get at there with maybe what I said, but yeah, it was David Briggs, I believe, piano player. Well, once again, though, we know that the first year of the relationship, Elvis was faithful to her, but who knows? The dynamics of love and relationships and life on the road and all that other stuff. I mean, it's, none of us that are Elvis fans try to pretend he was a perfect person. We do talk about Priscilla a lot because she's still out there spinning the same tales as if they're 100% true, which we seem to have a lot of documented truth in some of these books and witnesses that disagree with it. And that's maybe why we talk about it a lot, because it's not like Linda, Linda always says positive things about Elvis. Yeah, she says some truthful things that maybe are not the best side of Elvis at times, but he was just a man. He was he was an imperfect person, just like there's imperfect women and men. We're all out there. Angela said, yes, Colonel Parker and Priscilla were nothing but vultures, money, money, money. They deserve each other. So Angela's not a Priscilla fan for sure. But, getting back on the Priscilla train about that, since we're answering some comments from before, if she hadn't signed off on the Priscilla movie, which was a hatchet job towards Elvis, Elvis fans could find some goodness in if she stood up for Elvis's image. At times she has, but has she stood up only to defend herself? Like when the Me Too movement comment came up, where they were like, would Elvis, what would he think about this Me Too movement? And she basically said there was nothing wrong with what they did back then and who Elvis was. But I think she was really more trying to stand up for her own reputation than Elvis's, and I think that's a big difference. All right, what kind of parent was Priscilla to Lisa Marie and Navarone? I think she cared more about her son, Navarone. He could do no wrong. Lisa carried the Presley name, not Priscilla. She divorced Elvis. She is not a Presley. She is just writing on the Presley name, says Angela. Yeah, and that is something that we all feel. We feel like that's what her life's about. It's not really about defending Elvis. It's about making money off of Elvis. Making money off of her life with Elvis. Go search on my channel for There's Only One King. That's all she does. That's Jesus. That's a song about Elvis and Kathy, their first night alone, and Priscilla's feelings on that. So she loves Jesus, was anointed by God. That's a great username. His voice was a gift to the world. So if you're reading this comment from you and she loves Jesus and Elvis, all right, I appreciate if you haven't heard it yet, I'm a singer, although not as much as I used to be. I don't know whether I clicked on read more for you or not. But thank you so much for reading this, and you do a great job. It's sweet. Thank you. Imitating Elvis. Well, I appreciate it. It's been a long time since, but Elvis had a unique voice. Maybe I can do 1% of his voice. I can't afford buying this book. It's really good for you sharing it. You bet. And I'm going to bring a lot more books. So this is not just something you're going to be able to look forward to the rest of 2024, but as long as I do this channel, which I hope is forever, there's a lot of Elvis books out there that are worthy of being read, that need to be read. A lot of little parts of Elvis, memories of Elvis from friends, families, members, and people that knew him. Mostly good, and there's some stuff that's the human side of Elvis that is a little bit on the negative side at times, but if it's written in the right way and communicated in the right way, well, that's just all part of the man that he was. Mike Keevan, Brokoven, thank you for sharing all of this and reminiscing about why Priscilla led the life she did. Sorry if I messed your name up there. But thanks for coming on here, and if I'm mispronouncing something, leave me a comment about how to pronounce your name. All right, on the book Elvis and Kathy, their first night alone and Priscilla's jealousy, at Donna PC886 says, I appreciate hearing the book read by you. Since that book is so hard to find and the cost that it can possibly cost, I would never be able to afford it. So thank you very much for this gift. Well, like I said, I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all. And whatever I can do to try to continue to give you a voice, to give you a platform, being an entertainer, I was a singer-songwriter from a young age. Let me get to this next comment real quick. I enjoy your segments. But the background music, thank you. It's very distracting and annoying. There's a couple videos I just noticed are a little too loud and needs to be left out. So I appreciate that. I can't go back and change it, but I'll work on moving forward. Mildred said, a beautiful song. Elvis will never be forgotten. He has so many fans all over the world. That's the song I put on there that I wrote recently. So go take a look at that if you haven't and take a listen. But, like I said, being an Elvis fan and also being an entertainer, what I loved about singing and still love about singing is being able to give back and to change somebody's afternoon or evening or morning with a song. So in some ways, this is another way for me to be an entertainer like Elvis was. Elvis gave to us fans out of the goodness of his heart, out of the joy of giving. Elvis was a giver. And we've been reading that in the Elvis and Kathy book, how he, really thought about her, was very thoughtful. Carmen Bijan says, great video, really great tribute to Elvis. Let's listen to his music every day. Beautiful song. Congratulations. Thanks and love him. I appreciate you. That's about the Shadow of the King song. One of my most recent videos. I don't think I put it in the title there. And I will have them on iTunes. But once again, I got so much stuff going on in life. It's very difficult to get everything done when I want to get it done. Just like y'all know. We all have the same. Here's a video that was a little bit too loud for the background music. And Lillian, hey, you're back, Lillian Gilbert. She doesn't like me. You make too many assumptions. Well, maybe I shouldn't say, yeah, you don't like me. You don't like what I'm saying. You make too many assumptions. Priscilla was not obsessed with Elvis when she was that age. Just read the book and stay in task. And, of course, I clicked on View All Replies. And I believe I did reply to you. But if you read the book, you'll see that she was obsessed with Elvis, that she spent her formative years, from 10 to 13 to 14, obsessing over him. And so did her mom, records, movies, playing the game of what if, and Elvis was always her imaginary lover. Constance Finley says, who cares? Okay. I don't know what you mean by that, but maybe who cares about Priscilla? Maybe you say who cares about the book, but you did take the time to write, so giving you a shout out. You said, who cares? All right, Priscilla Presley, Sex Plot. 3 Separate Heads. I haven't seen you in a while. So glad I know once again, I don't have a whole lot of time to leave comments. And I guess I probably do spend a couple hours a day on the channel, but some people have a little bit more time than others, and that's maybe why I haven't seen you lately. But I appreciate you giving Prissy the benefit of the doubt, but it's still no real excuse to become so manipulative. That's true. Did you become a fantastist? Most work to get a better life, not create a total fantasy, and grift off others. That's a good point. Even if she did create a fantasy, you think as she matured emotionally and intellectually that she would have some self-reflection and try to change, especially after having her own children. Seems she now actually believes all the lies and fantasy, acting like her immature, despite looking slightly older and younger, child she obviously was, and expecting whatever she wants. Poor Lisa Marie must have put up with so much more than we know. Despite losing her only grandson and daughter, it was business as usual for Prissy, hardly batted an eyelid, and has carried on. Elvis was crazy for getting involved with her, a true devil in disguise, in my opinion. Well, that's a great comment. 3 Separate Heads. Always enjoy what you put down. You always leave a very well thought out comment. Elvis and Kathy, their first night alone, and Priscilla's jealousy. Jermaine Mueller, 2993, says, thank you. It's very interesting. I'm looking forward to the next part. Well, if you watch this before the next part comes out, well, it's out. I would say that probably every other day there'll be a section on Elvis and Kathy until the book is done. And in between there's going to be my Army Days with Elvis by Johnny Lang and Child Bride. And I'm going on vacation to Florida for a week. I'm going to try to get enough stuff done in advance to be able to load it for y'all. And if I don't, then I'll bring the book with me and I'll read it on the beach or something. You know what I'm saying? All right, Priscilla Presley, Sex Pot, Top Cat 268. So this is a Priscilla bashing channel. She wanted a husband, not a womanizer. Is that her fault too? Elvis never gave Priscilla the chance to love him. I don't know whether she wanted a husband, not a womanizer. Everything that we've read about her in Child Bride, shows that she wanted somebody dangerous, that she wanted a rebel. That's not usually husband material. She definitely wanted to be famous, and she wanted to be rich and wanted to be special. What's up, Ruby? You said, great show. I love all your videos. Thank you. I love you being on the channel. Keep on coming back. Gussie Gatlin, I'm obsessed. Love that you are reading us these books. Hey, Gussie, I'm just keep tuning in. You know, thanks for leaving a comment, and that's why I'm shouting you out. You not only took the time to watch the video, but you're leaving a comment. So that's special. Hey, what's up, Pat Shepard? And hey, and some of y'all can't leave comments because you haven't created an actual username on this. So you watch YouTube TV on maybe your TV and not on your computer or phone, but you can create a username and you can leave comments. So if you need any help with that, I can always send you some instructions. Just email me. At PatShepard784, I am following along. I always felt I should read this, but never did. I enjoy it more listening to you, examining what went on. Yeah, hey, there's a lot of books out there. And once again, I'm reading along with y'all for the first time, so I haven't read it before. So you're not that far behind me, and I've, just like you, I mean, I'm sure there's even bigger Elvis fans out there than I am. But I've spent a great deal of my life reading his books, listening to his songs, watching his movies, and trying to follow some of the same paths that he led. Elvis and Kathy, they're first not alone in Priscilla's jealousy. Ivana says, Elvis and Kathy Westmoreland had a love story. Kathy was the only woman to whom Elvis confided everything about his hereditary disease. Did I click on read more? I'm not sure. Gosh, I need to go back and maybe revisit your comment. You obviously probably have read this book, and unless you saw maybe an interview that she said later on. But yeah, there was stuff going on with Elvis that the common Elvis fan, and I don't want to say the common, but the Elvis fan that maybe hasn't read it or heard about it, didn't know about. The TBI, the traumatic brain injury Elvis had, where Priscilla was there. And then he had to, so that caused a lot of issues. Betty Bloomfield, this is a good, truthful read, funny, witty, and honest. Yeah, it is really a great book so far. Priscilla, was she recently kicked out of Graceland premises? So, I'm sure like y'all, you look everywhere for Elvis stories. You see them on your Facebook feed or your Instagram. And I happened just to see somebody that had left a comment on one of those fan pages. And that's what this video is based on. And you said, I hope it's true. Well, we haven't seen her there, have we? We didn't see her there this year. Don't think we saw her there last year. I know Riley's Christmas special had some pictures of Priscilla, which I didn't really like too much, whatever. But it's her right to do what she wants. Big E Bike Sports. She was a typical narcissist, twisting everything to victimize herself. Elvis was miserable with her. She undermined everything he did. Good comment there. Appreciate you being on here. But back to the other point about recently kicked out of Graceland premises. Now, was that employee joking because they don't like Priscilla either? I don't know. I think if you work there, you probably are not going to be a big Priscilla fan, probably more of an Elvis fan. But it could be true. She might not be allowed on the premises. Now, inside of the home, if Riley invites her there, sure. But as part of Elvis Presley Enterprises, the tour, being involved in all of that stuff, maybe she's not allowed anymore because Joel Wineshaker. Elvis Carey 3325 says, I went to the courthouse and read Graceland can only have 6 people buried there. In 1977, when they wanted Elvis buried there, Shelby County said the max is 6 people. So there's your answer. No, she won't be buried there. And she did say she would be buried next to her mother. And I don't really hear about Priscilla saying she'd be buried next to her mother. But I do know about the 6 people. Now, could that get changed? Could they lobby it? Is that why she's been over in Memphis doing stuff for the Memphis Hall of Fame and donating so much time to try to curry some goodwill? Perhaps. Did Priscilla make up this horrible story about Elvis? At Brenda Harris 9636, well, that is the reason he didn't love her anymore. But we have to remember he wasn't doing the same with her. No privacy for them, always guys around. I would get tired of the crew also. It's a good point, but she had a choice. She wasn't kidnapped. She wasn't forced to be there. And I think that's what everybody forgets when they want to say poor Priscilla. She wasn't forced to have a glamorous lifestyle where she was rich. At Norma Critchlow says, thanks for sharing your book with all of us. I think most people never had much years ago. I grew up in Scotland. One of 5 clothes were passed down from cousins. As soon as we could find jobs, still at school, we donated them maybe. No one had much. I think we all turned out better people for it. We learned to appreciate and had respect for older people. I'm glad I grew up then. I think we had a better life. Experienced hardships, learned, made you a more appreciated person, and there was no conceals where you were lucky to have a TV. We made our own games, played outdoors. Kids seemed much happier. I was born in 1960, and I wouldn't want to be young now. Those are great points. And I enjoy reading. We can all learn from each other, and we can always find gratitude. We can all find gratitude from each other as well. So good comment. New release song. That's the Shadow of the King video and song I wrote. I have all these photos because I have what's the second book copied of Elvis. It was like 400. I think that comment didn't come out quite right, but you have all those pictures, she said. All right, Priscilla Presley Sexpot A-PO87. A completely different story. Maybe the truth is in the middle, but it's obvious how Priscilla and her family just told everybody what they wanted. All the people who said different things are kept far away from Elvis's world, a sort of manipulation. Only Elvis really knows. We have never had this version, and maybe Elvis would have been too private to share. In my opinion, all of her behavior in the past and nowadays are more in line with this portrait than with the image of the innocent victim that she's always presented to us. That's a very great comment. Really nice to read that. Well said. And I think you echo a lot of what people think on this channel. New unreleased song. That's the new Shadow of the King song. Beautiful song, beautiful voice. Thank you, Julia. Julie Lassie. Julielle. Gosh, Julie L-E Lassie -IT7YP. All right, yeah, maybe I'm pronouncing it all wrong. Some very shocking info uncovered about Priscilla. Same Julie. If actually Elvis knew Priscilla was the real way, Elvis would have dropped her out very quickly. I think that Elvis is a lot like a lot of us, where we try to see the best in people. And he could only rely on what she had told him, that she had kept herself true to him, faithful to him. And that holds a lot of sway to somebody. And it also, if you have parents that are forcing you, like he probably did with her parents, that's another level of it. Then you got Colonel Parker. Jealous of her own daughter, 100% correct. She is her own mother, trying to look younger than her own daughter, too. It's terrible. Yeah, Julie, I agree with that. But I look back to the other point. I think that Elvis Presley believed. Now, he believed that she was, if they hadn't done anything truly, and then she said, hey, I saved myself for you. It's hard not to try to give that a try, right? Even if you maybe don't feel like you 100% love somebody, or if you're scared it's going to ruin your career. Please read it without the music in the background. It was so distracting. Hard to concentrate on what you're reading. I'm sorry. There was a couple videos in a row, I think, that had the music too loud. I think I've got that corrected now for these future videos. All right, so Zucan100 says, I don't believe a security guard would be the holder of that information personally. You'd be surprised. Once again, you work at a place, you hear a lot of stuff, and a lot of times you hear the truth, the reality of the situation, especially if she hadn't been around for a couple of years. It's not because she doesn't want to be right. She likes to be the center of the Elvis world. But here's the thing. If Priscilla's not getting her pockets padded with money, she ain't doing nothing. Nothing. And we've seen in the news, Zucan, that Joe Wineshaker publicly questioned about that black grommet jacket. That was being sold, a fraudulent jacket. He's like, we've got the original one here. There was only one made. And that was her relationship with Bridget. All right, Vicky. My Army Days with Elvis, Friendship, Football, and Follies. This is the Johnny Lang book. You say, this is really interesting. I'm sure Johnny would be very happy to know that you find the book interesting. I never knew that Russia and East Germany thought that Elvis's presence in Germany might encourage defectors. Hey, they did good research. I mean, Johnny's son, Eddie, helped him with his book as well. But yeah, it was back in those days, in the 60s. I mean, we're talking Cold War. I mean, the Cold War, and maybe I'm not exactly right on all of this stuff, but, the world is a different place now than it was in the 60s and 70s and 80s. There was a lot of fear about what the United States was going to try to do, and there was power grabs and all that stuff. And I'm sorry I didn't click on the read more. The music outdid the speaker big time. I'm sorry, Jersey girl. And I don't have that video to edit anymore because I do so many videos, and they're high definition videos, that it just fills my iPhone up. So I don't think I'm going to be able to go back and redo that. So apologies. Hopefully you find the next videos with less background music or none, because I did go back and listen to them, and you are absolutely correct. Just a little too distracting. All right, what's up, Han Mump? My Army Days with Elvis. He said, really enjoyed this. Looking forward to the next chapter. Hey, good to hear that. And like I said, y'all can get this book on Amazon or Walmart. I believe I've got links down below it. There's a couple different links. I don't make any money off the link. I think it's 0% commission for me, but there's also one on Amazon, I think. So just shop around, find a good price for it. Obviously, Eddie, Johnny gets a percentage of the profits because he wrote the book. And it's well deserving. He's up there, I believe he's close to 90 or right around 90, 91. Priscilla, was she recently kicked out of Graceland? I want to believe that she's not allowed to be on the grounds. We haven't seen her, have we, Memphis Princess? She's not been there the last couple of years. Hasn't been to Elvis Week. And you would think if she was running the show, if she had any sway or power anymore, she would put herself right in the middle of it. And she's not. She hasn't been there. So I think it is probably true, just based upon that. Looks like we got another comment coming up about Johnny Lang's book. Then My Army Days with Elvis, Friendship, Football, and the Follies, and Follies. As I read more chapters of this book, you're going to see that Johnny was there for a lot of the memories of what we know about Elvis. He wasn't there for all of them. He didn't go to Paris with Elvis. Well, did he go to Paris? Well, he went to the Holiday on Ice, but that was in Germany, I believe. But the fact that he got to play football with Elvis all the time, and he was his running back, is pretty cool. At Marianne, 4619, love. Well, good. And then he got to be around the house a lot, and he knew Elizabeth. In fact, he introduced her, and that was Elvis's secretary. It's got some cool little stories and some insights as well about the dynamics of the Memphis Mafia, the dynamics of Vernon and Elvis's relationship. And I think it's well worth reading it, whether you read it with me or get the book on your own. Priscilla Presley's Sex Pot. Why was Captain B, who I thought was a navigator bombardier, moonlighting with the CIA? Recently, another commenter told me that Curry Grant was assigned to the intelligence unit. Yeah, that's something to maybe look into. Yeah, good thinking, Vicky. I don't know. Back in those days, I guess that might be a good cover. I don't know. And that would also make you think that Paul had some power that maybe influenced Elvis on marrying Priscilla. Next comment says, man, poor Elvis. He died when his dear mother died, and then again meeting this evil plot by gold digger Priscilla, who contributed enormously to leading up his death. A lot of comments. We had some comments there, which I didn't click on that. But, Elvis made his own decisions. But if you're being lied to somebody or misled, it's not a good thing if that's the truth. All right, so we got Deborah Sneed. Get a life. She does not like us talking about Priscilla. I believe Linda was a good lady, but Elvis did not love her. He was still in love with Priscilla. You could see it in his eyes. You are wrong. Priscilla loved Elvis, but Elvis was one a lot and had multiple affairs. Was one a lot. Don't know exactly what you're trying to say there, but I get your general gist. You don't want us to bash Priscilla, that you want to defend her. Okay, well, let's read this next section. Priscilla Presley, Sex Pot, Vicky, 6070. So far, What we've learned from Child Bride is, while in the 6th grade in 56, Prissy was considered by her then boyfriend aggressive and another boyfriend determined. Priscilla attracted the older boys. She would ditch her girlfriend at the drive-in and meet the high school boys. When she was in 6th grade in 57, her girlfriend said that she was considered a honeypot. She would sit in the front lawn watching and attracting the older boys who were playing football. The summer before 8th grade in 58 is when Prissy found the trunk in her mother's closet and discovered that she was adopted. Now Prissy, at 13, when she entered 8th grade in 58, became even more flirtatious and was now hanging around boys that were even older. With her mother's help, she went to the homecoming dance with the captain of the football team. She was considered one who could compete with the seniors. After that, she started to hang around with more notorious boys who were barely in school. By the middle of the 8th grade, her reputation was suffering. She was with guys in cars who drank beer and the kind that would be promiscuous. She was a person that was used to getting what she wanted. The book said after discovering she was adopted, a different Prissy emerged. I do not think that she really changed. I tend to think that it was more of the same. The behavior actions simply escalated. She's been fine-tuning her craft, and she had one more year to perfect it before meeting Elvis. So when Curry Grant told her that Elvis liked and did not like in a woman, Prissy was able to conjure up the image. Well, that's well written, Vicky, and that does definitely sum up what we've read so far. And yeah, keep reading along. That's great. And for those that maybe haven't read the book yet or looked at the book series, maybe you'll hop on there and start looking for the series on Child Bride. Mega Savvy, I heard when Vernon was organizing Elvis to be buried at Graceland, yeah, the city of Memphis approved for up to 6 burials. Yeah, so yeah, you're right about that. Let me see here. WLC says no. She is not kicked out of Graceland. Well, show me some proof. Let's see her show up. I think she is. Personally, and the person that put the comment on Facebook that was with the employee who said it. J. Armada says it's not Presley. She shouldn't be there, buried there. Priscilla only took care of the souvenirs because they cost a lot of money. Sounds like a little song you might have written or something. Might have written. Priscilla Presley Sexpot, Vegas Vixen, thanks for reading this. Next time, can you turn the music down, please? You know, and I'm sorry, there's a couple videos. This one, and then the one that's about her getting kicked out of Graceland or kicked off of premises. That the music is just a little too loud. Let's see. The song I wrote, In Tears. Oh, what happened here? All right, somebody said, why you love to talk about her. Leave her alone. Please stop. Shelley says, I used to feel sorry for her too, even though I knew the truth. I knew that she was telling a few porky pies. However, the truth needs to be told. Elvis fans will always defend him. P.S. What is it that you find that isn't true? This comment had a lot of responses to it. And I'm not going to go. James went back and forth with her and said a lot of great things. But at the same time, I think he thought that his comments were getting deleted, and it just went on and on and on. But James, keep coming back, keep defending Elvis. And I appreciate everybody being on here. You have a voice, TCB, TLC. Till next time, this is Rare Elvis Photos.